Hello everyone, this is Shining Noctiles, and tonight I wanted to share a special video of my trip to Washington, to Western Washington in particular, and my journey back. And glad I made this trip actually. Uh, it just showed me, when my apologies for that. I just noticed that um. Oh, yeah. I had accidentally um used a different Google Docs for a certain message, but I will go back here and redo it. There we go. Yeah. So, yeah, I just wanted to redo that. So, I um I noticed that yeah, it's better. I noticed that give me a moment. Wee bit of apple cider, as it were. It was really hot out there when I drove out through Washington, uh, through the middle of the state. I didn't realize how much of Washington was really desert grasslands. Actually, it's at least 200 miles worth. So yeah, when I was going through those desert grasslands, as it were, and I thought about my connection who had, or a dear friend of mine who had made that trip from uh, from Western Washington through those grasslands in the winter of all things. It just showed, how much she cared to visit me. Even those treacherous terrain, as it were. And I'm thankful that she did that for me. So I thought it was worth, making that trip for her, and and I'm glad I did. I noticed though about Western Washington, at least Olympia, but even in some cases Tacoma and things like that. Um, Even though I didn't stop at Tacoma, I was just referencing mainly the traffic. I'd be going the speed limits, or even sometimes to follow the flow of traffic, I would, just go a wee bit quicker at times. But even doing that, I noticed that people um, would want to go right past me and go 100 miles or however many miles an hour, and that was fine and whatnot, but something that I'm not used to from it being from North Idaho, as it were. Nonetheless, I, went to Olympia and I got a real feel for it. And I noticed that a lot of people there don't really seem to be open to talking to one another, really. In the sense that, when I would say hello to someone there in Tumwater Falls, they did not acknowledge me, and I thought that was quite strange, actually, because in North Idaho, and in even other places I've been to, you say hello to someone, and they'll say hello back. But that did not happen there. And I noticed it happened time and again, where I would say hello and they wouldn't say anything, and I would go to near the falls and I would say hello, and the guy would look at me, and there's a bunch of other people there, and they all left, and you know what happens. But I noticed that even though it was very beautiful in Western Washington, that it was. It just didn't really resonate as well with me as I would have liked it to. So in lieu of that, I went to the Airbnb. The hostess was very nice, very accommodating. But I told her that this place, Olympia, just the people and the general energy of the town here just doesn't resonate with me, and I believe it might be best if I pack up and leave and return home. And she said, no worries, that's fine. So I did just that, and I returned home. And even upon returning home, I noticed that because I had really wanted to do this for a friend of mine, that she visited my town, so I thought it was fair to visit hers. And even though I didn't end up having the best experience, I still felt like she gave me a spiritual hug and just said, no, it's okay, just because you don't like you know the town I lived in for a while, it doesn't make me upset. It just means it just didn't resonate with you. And I'm glad that she did that for me. And but yeah, no, when I came back home, usually here in North Idaho, sometimes we talk about, oh, Spokane, it's so busy, and it's all a bunch of stuff going on there and stuff. But I was actually glad when I came back to Spokane County, and it was just very, very calm, and I could actually breathe, and you know, that was the first, to be able to do that. But yeah, it was nice coming back, and but it's been a blessing to come back here, to come back to North Idaho, and I learned a lot on the journey. I learned a lot. I learned how um, you know, different places can really have a different vibe to it, really. And it just shows me how much more I really am grateful to be here, in the mountains and friendly people and things like that. And it also showed me how my friend's partner, how why why she felt like that when I helped her out of my heart, why it really touched her. And I can understand that now more so than ever, because I just did it out of my heart. I did it because I cared about her and, my friend. Um, but yeah, I can see it now because maybe where she lived in Olympia, no one was willing to help her. The people weren't willing to help her community and weren't willing to be there, and that's probably why she really said that, is because of just the energy there. And I hope if she ever visits, or my friend and her partner ever visit up here in North Idaho again, I hope that, it will be a good experience for them again, and that I can show them, the friendliness of the people here, and that they are willing to help, and that they care about one another, because that's what a fair amount of people here do. And yeah, and although I do feel like that there are some things that need to be changed here in North Idaho, and I know a lot of the Idahoans, saying, "Don't California-K Idaho, don't do that," and radical left, and this and that, and the third, and whatnot. And even though we have our own problems with far right or radical right stuff, um, I think what's important is like, for example, people in the trans community or LGBTQ plus community. I believe they should be allowed to just be themselves, because just like how someone being Hindu doesn't harm anyone, uh, uh, and this goes for any spiritual path, really. Um, Neither does someone being gay or trans or non-binary or all the above, And so I feel like that is it's important for that to be recognized as a human right, I think, to be allowed to be yourself in that regard. Just like, there's different spiritual paths and how segregation was ended and stuff. And then the other thing too is about pro-life and pro-choice, and hopefully that will also be resolved, and that women will be able to really speak their mind, and for there to be more of a harmonious balance to it. I think that's also important. But other than that, I think living here has been perfectly fine, other than just those couple things. Um, because I noticed that even though places like Washington are allegedly known to be havens and more accepting of different walks of life, I noticed that was the exact opposite in Olympia. For a place that was meant to be very accepting of, for example, trans people or people of all walks of life, it felt very unaccepting. And that's what I thought, was very, very peculiar, really peculiar indeed. But hopefully in time, that will change, and the people of Olympia or of Western Washington will be able to recognize what needs to be changed, and if they so choose to, because they are the residents of that state, and as well as the governor or you know and whatnot and some other things, and because I think there has to be a harmonious balance to it, really. Yeah. And I know a lot of the middle Washington, again, was really pretty much desert grasslands and things like that. And from what I've heard, some people do say those are the friendlier parts of Washington, even though it's so hot out there right now. And, there's even just being out there in the sun, I just kind of got burnt. Kind of like the fields got burnt, so maybe not as bad, fortunately, but I might have to go to the store to get some aloe vera or sunscreen to help remedy that. And but yeah, no, it's been a journey. It's been a journey, and sometimes our trips are not always gonna be the most successful, but I believe it was still worth it to go there. Just to show my friend that I wanted to give back to for the kindness that she had shared with me long ago that I did. And so I did that, and I feel much better now after doing that. Yeah, I do. And yeah, it's just part of the journey, It's part of the journey. And I know I was watching a video by Borge Andreas Bohansen. Uh, I've mentioned him a couple times on my YouTube channel, but he did a video regarding what it's like to be in the city, and he did a video of him as a wild man, you know, as myself in a way, and all these city people walking past him. And he talked about how the city can sometimes breed distrust and among other things. And after going to Tacoma, Olympia, Seattle area, I really do see what he's talking about now. Now, I will say there are, I originally did come from a big city. I did come from Jacksonville, Florida. And it was fine over there. Like, population had almost around 1 million people in the county. But, people were friendly. They said hello, how are you? Hope you're doing well. And so I think just because you live in a place with a lot of people doesn't always mean that it's necessarily going to be unfriendly. At least that's what I experienced in Florida, at least when I lived in the beaches, most in particular. But yeah, no, I think that, and then the same thing with, like anywhere else, even Portland, Oregon, when I was there, and Portland has a fair amount of people. The people that were friendly, uh, they, 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 excuse me, they like to keep it weird, as it were. That's one of their slogans, and I actually enjoyed it there. I was there for two months, and I didn't want to leave. But it was different. They were friendly. They were willing to get to know you. They weren't. They didn't have the Seattle freeze about them, as it were. And I know some people, that they're okay with the Seattle freeze. That's their thing. But no, no, no. I was really thankful and appreciative of the warm welcome I had received when I was in Portland. Even though I know right now they struggle a wee bit with homeless camps and things like that. But I feel like in time they will be able to figure that out. But yeah, no, I think that Uh, that I feel like that, if you want a place to prosper, whether it's a village or a town or a city, or maybe even an empire to an extent, you have to uh, really be kind and really be willing to help your neighbor, because they're part of the community. Because if you're stepping over the corpses of the fallen warriors or of your fallen brethren, then I don't think that's a healthy way to go about things. Yeah, I think that being able to pick up your brother or your sister, when they need help, or just show them the inner strength within themselves, I think is a beautiful thing. Because I think like a hundred warriors that can rely on can learn to rely and trust one another and be there for one another is far better than 100 emperors that are distrustful of one another. Yeah, and that can't only are concerned about themselves and not their brethren, their sisters and brothers. So yeah, I think that um, that's something that people have to recognize that if you want a place to prosper, you have to it's important to be there for each other, not just be concerned about only yourself, I guess. Um, I guess that's what I really felt in Olympia, Tacoma, Seattle. It's just people just seem concerned about only themselves, or yeah, I think that was the issue. But hopefully in time that changes, because I feel like if they really do care about their community or start caring about it more, and the land and things like that, then the land and the community will heal. But they will have to show a bit of humility in order to do that, if they choose to. And I'm sure some people want that change. I'm sure they really want to heal that land or their community. But that's something that really probably will have to happen before there really will be any significant change. And yeah, that's just part of the journey. That's part of life, and you can only wish the best for them. You can only hope that in time that they will find a path of healing, for themselves and the land, and yeah, and you wish the best, and you keep going forward, you keep going forward, but no, here in North Idaho, I really just this has really been a good place to really. I've been coming up here since I was a wee lad, since I was 6 years old, and yeah, it's been a good place. It's been a good place. It's not perfect. It's not perfect by any stretch of the imagination. And in some ways, I wish, it'll become more open-minded over time, but I believe it will happen. It will happen. Just takes time, takes time and a wee bit of effort, but we do what we can, and we just hope that we put our best foot forward and continue walking ahead, So. But anyways, that's all I wanted to share for now. I hope you all enjoyed the video. I hope you all found it insightful and that you learned a fair bit, from listening. If you have any comments, and if there's anyone from Western Washington, who's watching this video, or even from Central Washington, because I'd love to hear, comments from people, from example, from Kennewick, Yakima, Pasco, Moses Lake, that area, the desert grasslands, or I believe you guys might call it the Palouse, as it were. Or even people right across in the border in Spokane or Liberty Lake and things like that. If any of you guys want to share and be respectful and just share your thoughts and maybe start a healthy discussion, let me know. But until that time comes, if it does. I hope you all take care, and I hope you all have a good rest of the day, afternoon, or evening. Slangafol. Bye for now. Bye for now.